So Silas here. I'm on Gitanga Road in Lavington. Going to town, so we're just taking some video there, walk around. Haven't been to the central business district in a while. Just walking down the street waiting for a bus. That's one of the buses going the other direction. So whenever I get to a bus stop, I'm just going to jump on the bus and head to town, and yeah, I'll be back then. This is one of the better neighborhoods in Nairobi. And you can see like the car-wise, people actually come and get those cars. Some people do get it straight cash. buy this baby, straight cash. It's like a Chappelle show thing where he buys a baby with cash. But yeah, so there's a lot of these car dealerships just on the street like that, where the cars are sitting out. This is one of the kind of malls. It's one of the older ones. There's a club at the top right there. See, there's a fitness place there. I don't know if that's an actual fitness place or Pump Fitness. So now a lot more people are starting to do working out here in Nairobi, in Kenya. And that's becoming more of a thing, just a general exercise. As I said, a lot of people walk, people eat, I think, a less refined sugar and carb heavy diet. So people are just in general in better shape. The temperature is better, so you don't really have winters where people are sitting around a lot. So there's a lot of things that kind of come together to make it to a situation where people just in general, I think, are in better shape than they are in places like United States of America, Mexico, the United Kingdom, a few other places where obesity is a bit of an issue. So I'm trying to get on that too, get on the walking around. I think that's Lavington Green or something like that. It's also kind of a mini shopping center of sorts there. I'm going to wait for a bus here, get to town. One of the ideas I've had, I was thinking a cool app here to have in Nairobi. As you can see, there's a lot of buses, but the people what they do is they stay at the main station, at the main hub, and fill up before they go on their route. So I was thinking if they had a thing where people could actually go to the station, and when you're at the station, you can maybe like log in and say you're at the station, then whichever bus is at the actual main head of the route, they can figure out that yes, there's actually people there. And then since there are people there, it can actually take them all the way to town. For no particular reason, I decided to just get off here. This is by, I don't even know the name of this road anymore, but if I ever knew it. That's Upper Hill over there, and Central Business District is this way. I know that's Times Tower, or something called Times Tower, something like that. Here it's what's it called? It's where the Kenya Revenue Service is. It's where the IRS is. And in case you guys didn't know, almost got run over there. But yeah, in case you guys didn't know, taxation is theft. No matter where you are, taxation is theft. Whether the United States of America, taxation is theft if you're here in Kenya. But yeah, so this is where they steal the money and keep the money because they don't ask you. So idea we give taxes. No, they don't ask you. And there's a lot more money coming in here right now because Kenya is starting to get people registered on businesses. They're starting to do a lot more of that. But are they giving more services? Not yet. As you can see, they have the iTax thing right there. Pay your taxes online, Kenya Revenue Authority. So you can do this thing where you pay your taxes online. So when a company is registered, there's also the dual taxation situation. Like as I mentioned, I'm trying to register a company in the States and move there. And I want to have things working in Kenya and here, and some people in Europe eventually. But when you do that, now there's multiple taxation. Part of the reason I want to have these companies that are separately registered in different places is so if some work is done here in Kenya, handle the taxation, handle all those payments and everything here, and then if the work is done in the States, handle all that stuff on that end too. But yeah, right here, this tree, it's normally a smaller bush. I haven't actually seen it as a tree this way. Actually, I've probably seen this before, but it's kind of cool to see it now. Yeah, right there, that's the post office building. It's one of the older post office buildings, the Central Nairobi Post Office. It's a bunch of post office boxes and also a bunch of offices on the top, as you can see. Right there is the Kenyatta International Conference Center right there. And also that's another conference center section there. It's one of the most, what's it called? It's one of the most indicative or, what's that term they use when something descriptory? No. It's one of the skyline things of Nairobi, of the city of Nairobi. And that used to be my favorite building in Nairobi right there. I'll get another shot when we get closer. But for now, just walk towards there. It's cordoned off here. So yeah, this was Times Tower, as I said before. Huh? So apparently you're not allowed to record around here. Why wouldn't you be allowed to record around here? I don't know what they think someone's good to do if they're recording around here. Now, this is the Central Bank of Kenya. As I said, Huduma Square, City Square. There's a post office in there too. You can see the blue boxes on the top right there. Those are some of the post offices, and it goes all the way back to the back of the building. And you apply for post office box, and they still have that. I don't know how far they've come to actually delivering things to houses, but I know most people still, at least most people I am aware of, still actually come to the post office boxes. Yet I've seen UPS trucks and I've seen some other delivery services. So there is the ability to actually start having things delivered to people's households. Okay, that's the railway station right there. The rail is coming back. It doesn't really work as well anymore. Easy Coach is one of the main bus services here. It's like the Greyhound of Kenya, I'd say of Nairobi at least. And this is one of the places where this is the railway's bus hub. So you see a lot of the matatus come and they stop there and they pick up from there. Some go to industrial area, which is that way. Some go back to Nairobi, which is to the right. Some even go back to other parts down that way. I don't know what's down that side. I can't really think right now. But there's also a big market down that way. I'm going to go more into the central business district, which is in this direction. So one thing, Jesus is pretty big here. Well, Kenya had animism in the background, but Jesus is on a lot of the matatus. I think it's the most common theme I think you'd see in most of them. And some really cool art in some of them. I mean, some really talented people doing it. I might look into finding out where they do that, but you can see like that M, it's like the Monster energy drink thing. This bus over here has like Giovanni and things like that. So copyright, intellectual property, not as solid here. You can pretty much do whatever you want, whenever you want, and no one's really going to come after you in that kind of situation. But that might change as the world gets more international, if some of these companies actually get more of an extent here. Like for example, you don't necessarily see too many matatus and things like that emblazoned with like Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola already has its very established presence here. But Coca-Cola will go out and they'll get some of these kiosks and things like that. They'll have them kind of emblazoned with Coca-Cola stuff. So that branding thing is kind of different here in that way. I wonder how would it be to actually just get your bus branded. It might be cool if you just live in another country and you just want to have your face on some bus in Kenya. Maybe I'm going to figure out how to get that going. So that's Memphis chicken, and the matatu that I was riding on here had the Memphis thing too. As I was mentioning, there's nothing to do with Memphis with that. Their chicken is kind of the same as the regular fish and chips places that you go to. It's kind of loud, and you see a lot of stores just have it open up, play music. Some places will have like chart services and stuff in the upstairs places. You can hear sound, lots of different sounds and whatnot. In my situation, I have this iPod Shuffle here, but my headphones, the Beats headphones I had got broken, so you don't have the volume control thing on these, so I'm just listening at the basic volume. Bit of a nuisance, but I really like walking around my music. But as you can see, this is this regular street in Central Business District. Okay, I'd say the character that the town has, the city center itself, changes quite differently when you cross. This is Haile Selassie Avenue. Haile Selassie is, I think it's an Ethiopian guy, something to do with the ragamuffin, with the Rasta religion or whatever. But yeah, when you cross that roundabout, whatever street that is, I'll double check and might know that next time. When you come down to this side of the city, the character kind of does change a bit. So I'm leaving the market area. You can see this little walkover. Some people are sleeping out there, there's people washing shoes and things like that. Major market in there. A lot of people will come here and get some stuff and then go sell it in other places. Or you can see the people selling clothes out here. Above there was vegetables. And this is just part of Nairobi. And here again, it's different matatus. Let's see. I'm saying they have different themed matatus. And there's actually a place where they spray these things. But there's some really cool stuff on these. There's some really entertaining stuff. You can see some of them with like Biggie and stuff. And some of them even carry on the whole theme into the interior of the matatu. Or they'll have a whole fleet of them with the same theme. And another thing with Nairobi is lots of different religions here. There's a pretty decent Muslim population in Kenya. Like most of them are on the coast, in Mombasa area, Malindi area, which is, of course, it's the coast, it's the Horn of Africa, and instead of facing Middle East, so yeah, it makes sense that there are a lot of them coming from there. A lot of them in the northeast, but then of course the capital city. So you'll find a lot of mosques and things like that. In Kenya, in Nairobi, you hear the call of prayer sometimes. You got some issues with the call of prayer. I'm like, why do it? But there's probably some reasons why. I'll double check that. But there's also a lot of Sikh temples and other Indian or not Indian, is it Indian? Not Indian, but Hindu type of temples, because there's a decent population from Asia here in Nairobi. This is a bus station slash market. Yeah, public toilets there. I don't know if it was a market first or a bus station first, but it's also a bus station hub for some stations, that some buses that go a lot further than just in the central business district area or in the Nairobi area. So some years back there was a bomb attack here, there was a terrorist attack here. Somebody threw a grenade or something, I think it was in the stalls there. If I remember correctly, I think it was about 20 people died or something. I could be wrong with that. Now these are some of the main buses. The City Hopper, I think they might have something to do with the government. Express Connections, they're another main one that have the services here. Kenya Bus Services, I think this is definitely the one that was involved with the government. But these are the main, I think, the top 3 bus services. The buses towards Westland, which is the area that I live in. There's one, I forget the name. They have these yellow and blue kind of decals on their trucks, on their buses. I'll show you when I get there. I don't know what this building is, but there's some really interesting type of architecture in the place. And as I was saying before, you see the telecom, they actually have a company here that's now competing cell phone service provider. And now they're starting to do their branding. So they're competing with Safaricom and Airtel, which are the other 2 major ones. Okay, this is the first time I've seen, okay, I might have seen it before, but right here, Hajime no Ippo, that's a pretty well-known anime. You see that mixing with Captain America and stuff. But I just started kind of picking up Hajime no Ippo, and it's a boxing manga, and apparently it's on like issue number 890, something ridiculous. But the main character has a situation where he just lost his fight. This might be a spoiler if you're reading that, but people are talking about it, quitting it because the character doesn't necessarily win all the time. But then at the same point, it's kind of cool when you think about it. It's not necessarily a bad thing the character doesn't always win, because they always have these mangas where the person always just comes by and wins. Right there, kind of cool. You can see like a mix, like the Orlando Magic thing, but they're going a different color scheme. Call of Duty Black Ops. Sure, Electronic Art is not here working with these guys, but rated R for gaudy, I don't know what that means. But yeah, this is some walk around Nairobi. Almost done with this. I'm going to go, this really good chips place I used to go to when I used to teach. I'd come out here and then I'd have to come from Westlands and I would stop here in town and switch. So sometimes, depending on if I was going there around lunchtime or coming back after, there's a place I would stop and get something to eat, so I'm gonna go eat there. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me well here, but this is the Kenya National Archives. Pretty cool in there. I'm gonna go in there. I've been in there before. There's like, it's kind of like a museum at the bottom, and then they have really old books and stuff about the history of different tribes. Some stuff in there that I actually want to research about some relations and how tribes used to have dealings with each other, both in relationship-wise, like I said, with a lot of, I think most of the reasons of life, if you think about life and you don't consider reproduction, and you don't consider what happens to reproduce, you don't really know life. So a good way to understand any country is to understand the gender relations and the steps that were taken to ensure that another generation is reproduced. So you can find that information there. That building over there was the Hilton. Let's go back and see if you can see it one more time. The Nairobi Hilton right there, Hilton Hotel. So that's with the Hilton Hotel Company. But with some of these things, it might not be directly managed by the Hilton Company. In some situations, a company will just lease out its name and then to be managed by somebody who's more local, who knows the lay of the land a lot better, who knows the hiring practice, who knows the customs and such things like that. And you see a lot of international organizations kind of do that. Now Tecno, that's now it's a new cell phone company. they're trying to enter this market. Like now when you have a market like this, you can find some smartish type phones for even as low as, what it was like, what's on for like 10,000. So it's like, okay, not, even like a, okay, I'm not gonna quote the price right now, but it's pretty low. You can get some pretty decent phones, and people have different uses here. A lot of people, even if they have a smartphone, they won't necessarily be using it for the purposes that most people with smartphones in developed countries will. And as you can see, you kind of just walk around and there's not really any actual traffic lights, so you kind of just have to keep your eyes on the swivel. And that's one thing I was talking about before, how in a place like New York, I had one video called Walking While Black or something. Some New York reporter was complaining in the New York Times, somebody did an op-ed or something, and he was complaining about how people don't move out of the way when he's walking down the street. And he was saying this is like a racist thing. It's not a racist thing. It's just the streets are very well paved. There's lights and things like that. People are just engrossed in their whole thing. If you do that here, you get run over. Here, people move out of the way. You gotta keep your head in a swivel. Here we go. Here's the place. The chips place. Taveta Road. If you're ever in Nairobi, check out Taveta Road. This chips place is bomb. Or, no, it's closed. So it's normally here. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, so this is the Odeon station, and this is ones that go to Westlands. And the companies I was saying were Starbus, and there's also Lantena Sacco, which I think works from Westlands onwards. Starbus is ones that comes from here all the way out there. And also these KMO red guys are also part of the main ones. I'm going to try to find the chips place on the main thoroughfare because it's Sunday. So I think some of these smaller guys, not smaller guys, because these guys do a lot of business, but I think a lot of the business they do is when this place is full during the week, but people don't travel as much on the weekend. So right now, let me go see if I can find a place. So we stopped by Manhattan Chicken and got the quarter chicken and chips. It's like 275 shillings, which is about under $3. And it's just fried chicken chips. Stone, which is it's kind of like root beer. Okay, there was a video I did like Black Panther. There's a Black Panther. It was one of those videos where I was pretending to be like the angry African guy, and I bought my shirt from somewhere over here. So that's like authentic African cloth one. And this is one of the also main pickup areas. There's a bus station here. A lot of these buses, Wakano Sako is one I was talking about that goes to the Westlands area where I live. That direction, and these ones head outside town. So these are on the outskirts of town because the central business district is in there. And here they go, there's like a roundabout right there. You can go out to Thika and you can go up to Westlands up there. I'm going to take one from here and go back up to Westlands. There's a fire station there. Don't really ever see any fire station leaving there. I mean, there's actual fire trucks there. There's a fire station that works, but I've never actually seen one come out with ringing and everything. But yeah, this is. So came back here to take a bus and. Sorry about the loudness. Just realized that it's Latema Road. Like Late-Ma. Late-Ma? You Late-Ma? It's Latema Road, so I guess that's why the Latema Sacco is the one that starts here and goes all the way to Kangemi area, Westlands area, where I'm going to take one from here to go. Okay, so just made it to Kangemi. This is Juyadaraja, the top of the bridge. So some buses come and they end right there at the top. It's the terminus of the route. Like the Late-Ma Sacco comes there, Latema.